Have you ever wondered what it would be like to be the best in the world at something? Well, my next guest is probably one of the best in the world at YouTube ads. By the age of just 26 years old, he had generated tens of millions of dollars in revenue from YouTube ads for himself and his own business, and far beyond that for his clients and those people that he's worked with. In this interview, he breaks down his backstory and how he got started into this by the age of just 12 years old, how he built this into a multiple eight-figure business, including getting on the Inc. 500 for multiple years in a row, and how he was able to go and use the algorithms to build a software that helps entrepreneurs like you and I have success on the YouTube ads platform. If you want an inside look at how one of the top minds in the world about YouTube ads thinks about them, well, then you're in for a treat. So with that, let's go over to this interview with the YouTube ads king himself, Mr. Aleric Heck. Welcome back, everybody, to the Josh Forti Show. I am joined today by the man, the literal myth. Right? I feel like this guy's like a mythical creature, a freak of reality here. The legend, Mr. Aleric Heck. Man, I deeply appreciate you making time to come on and be willing to sit down and join the show. Welcome. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me on. I'm excited. This is going to be awesome.
Yeah, okay. So for those people that don't know you, sometimes we just dive right in. I'm like, context is important. I feel like you're one of these people. Context is very important here. All right. For those that don't know you, you do YouTube ads, right? That you're the king. You're the mythical out of the blue. I don't know where you came from. I want to know how your brain works. You been on the Inc. 5000 for 3 years in a row. Inc. 5000, 60th fastest growing company in 2022. Over $200 million worth of revenue generated for your clients with YouTube ads. Bro, you got 36 people on your team, and you're what, 17 years old, 18 years old? Okay, that's impressive, right? Very impressive.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, and obviously you also mentioned the team too. It's like I've got an incredible team behind me as well. So it's, you see me up front and center, but it really is also a testament to a great team as well.
And I want to actually start there. I think that's important, okay? Because I asked my audience what some questions were. By the way, Damon Burton says dinner was great, and he's sad that you have not accepted his friend request yet on Facebook.
Oh, no. So I probably have thousands of friend requests pending. So I apologize. Please don't take it personal. But yeah, dinner was awesome.
No, but Damon's an awesome friend. But one of the questions was, how do you look? 25 years old for 10 years. But when I met you, I don't know if you remember, the first time we met was actually at the penthouse party at FHL.
Yes.
And I remember meeting you, and you were so humble. You were very quiet, right? Clearly, big parties and stuff like that's not your ideal setting, right? But you were very quiet, you're very humble, and anytime people would ask you a question, that's exactly what you do. You would deflect, right? You'd be like, oh, great team, great this, great that. Talk to me a little bit about that. How do you maintain that type of mentality and humility with that? And kind of what's your philosophy around that?
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, I really appreciate that. And I remember, meeting you there as well, which is great. And yeah, so I think that the big thing, with that is I always strive to be, as humble as possible. I think that when I look at it, it's like everything is built up with a collection of different people, all putting in incredible work and energy and effort. And I've had incredible mentors along the way. I also have an amazing team that is, behind me as well. I've got incredible clients too. And I think that, you want to give credit where it's due. One of the best, one of my favorite, kind of personal development books, kind of early on in the journey was How to Win Friends and Influence People. Yep. And I also think it's one of those things though, where it's not just that I learned the principles from that book. I think it reaffirmed principles that I had already had, but I kind of adopted that, before really, kind of building things up a little bit bigger on the business side. And I just realized this is, how I already live. And I don't want to change that as I continue to grow. It's like, how I was, raised to be humble, to be, appreciative of the people around me, the people on my team. And that's, honestly something that I think is really important. And to continue that is, I think, something that I really strive to continue to do.
Okay, so I want to get into that, but before we go into backstory and how you were raised and stuff like that, because I'm so fascinated. I'm very fascinated with your mind. I have so many questions, right? Give people some context. Let's back up. I actually don't know a whole ton of your story. I've seen the highlight reels, and I've seen your ads literally everywhere, which is fantastic, right? But how did this begin, right? You're how old now?
I'm 26.
26. my gosh. All right. So you're 20. That's so wild, dude. All right. So you're 26 years old. When did this start? Right? Like, take us back to the journey. Give us kind of a synopsis of how you got into YouTube ads, where this all began, and how you got to where you're at today.
Yeah, so I started back in 2009, and I was 12 at the time. So and I started back then and created a YouTube channel called AppFind. So I was reviewing like mobile apps, tech tutorials, teaching people how to use their iPhone. That channel started to grow, so lots of people started to watch it, and soon enough, I was getting hundreds of thousands of views, then millions of views. And I was really just teaching people how to use like their iPhone, the best apps to download, things like that. And the channel really started to take off. And I was doing that, while I was still, I mean, I launched when I was 12, but then it really started to grow in high school and then into going into college. And
Did you go to public school?
yes, I
Okay.
went
Yep.
to public school. Grew up in Massachusetts in Chelmsford. It's kind of it's like a suburb outside of about 45 minutes outside of Boston,
Okay.
kind of near the New Hampshire border kind of area. And so yeah, I went to public school there. Also, so while I was there, I had kind of the classwork. I had my YouTube channel that I was growing, and then I also really involved in Boy Scouts as well, and so Eagle Scout, all that stuff. So kind of went through that. So it's kind of like as I was going through, and so essentially I basically was building up this YouTube channel, and at first it was just fun, and it wasn't earning money. It was just I was just enjoying doing it, and I was just surprised that so many people were excited to watch the videos and would get the recommendations and wanted to see it. And
were these video like where your face was on the video, or was it like screen share or what?
so actually wasn't my face. It was my hands holding like my iPhone or iPod Touch earlier on, and just showing what apps to download or how to use the phone. And I would do these beginner's guides where I would make like a hour-long video teaching people from scratch how to use their iPhone as a complete beginner's guide. And some of those videos have still have like millions of views, teaching people from A to Z how to use their phone. And so essentially, I created all of these different videos, and I started to have people just watching them and then commenting how valuable the videos were. And then I got into the YouTube Partner Program, which I applied for several times and ended up getting into. And that's when I started earning revenue from the channel, from ad revenue. And then I started having sponsors reaching out to me. They wanted me to promote their mobile app, and then also affiliate deals too. So I would do affiliate offers inside of the videos, more for mobile apps. That was kind of the niche that I was in, but basically promoting these different apps or tech related things, or like cases, like iPhone cases, things like that. And that's when it really started to grow through high school and then into college. And then I started to tap fellow college students and hire them to be my script writers and my video editors, and people to respond to emails like business development. I was getting 50 inbound emails a day, which was crazy at that time with the YouTube channel, just with people asking me to feature their apps and things. So pretty cool.
So where'd you go to school?
I went to UMass Amherst, Eisenberg School of Management for college. Yeah.
Okay, I have so many questions about that, but it's interesting. So it sounds like you got your start in the organic side of YouTube, not the paid side of YouTube.
Yes. Yeah? Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So like, what did your, like during this time, like what did your parents think of all this? What did the friends, like when it started and it started to take off, right? Because it's like, dude, my world was Instagram, right? I picked the wrong world because they don't have rev share models, right? But so like, you get into the Instagram world, you start growing accounts, all of a sudden you got 100,000 followers, and then 1 million, and then 2 million, then 5 million, right? And you got all these millions of followers under management. People start to look at you and they're like, oh, at first they're like, that's stupid. And then you're like, well, I'm managing 5 million followers. And it's like a whole different, right? Like people are like, wait, what? Right? So how did that conversation go?
And that's like, and so honestly, that's the exact type of shift that I had over time, was from And I actually had that shift twice, which is kind of funny, both in high school and then in college. It kind of went from like, what are you doing? That's kind of a little
Yeah,
like
yeah,
odd.
yeah,
Like it wasn't.
yeah.
And then, you know, by the end of it, people knew that I had a YouTube channel and I was doing well. And, you know, I think that the other thing too, I also did not know how well, like, I did not know how abnormal it was. I just wanted to build, you know, my YouTube channel, and I was just growing and creating it. And I was looking at YouTube channels that were far bigger than me. So I was like, well, I'm not anywhere near them, you know? So I
Yeah.
was comparing myself to like what's ahead. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of different people do that. And so I didn't even really realize that I was further along. I remember the moment that I did, I was just looking at some stats, and I genuinely like wasn't, you know, I wasn't really like, I wasn't trying to brag. I was just showing like a friend, like, hey, here's the stat, because they was curious, like, how does this YouTube, you know, thing work? And I was showing like, and I pulled up the monetization tab, and it was showing like, you know, over the last year I had made like $60,000 when I was like, and this was, I was I think a sophomore in high school, and one of the teachers came over and he's like, you know, you're making that up, like that's not like real. And I'm like, oh, what do you mean? Like it is, like it's just my YouTube channel. And so he looks at it, and then his like face goes white, and he's that's more than he makes. And that's when I realized that, wow, wait a second. Because you don't really have as much, even then, like in high school, you think you have a concept, but you don't really have as much of a concept
Right.
with like all those types of things. And so that's when I realized, oh, wow, this is something a little bit bigger here that is exciting. And so, yeah, so then people started to like notice that. Same thing though at college. It was kind of funny because it reset, because over time, you know, in high school, people started to then see that I was doing some of the stuff, but in college, like I remember my freshman year, like it was kind of crazy. Like I actually, you know, had people that like bullied me because I was like, I wasn't going out and partying, I wasn't doing these different
Yeah.
things. I was like in my dorm room, I was like working either on classwork, which was also important to me at that time as well, but then also my business, and I would just be working on that day and night. I had a little makeshift studio set up to film all my videos, I got involved in the entrepreneurship club, and I made amazing friends there. But I just
Yeah.
remember my freshman year, I accidentally ended up, because I didn't know, like I accidentally ended up in like a notorious like party dorm or something. And but I didn't really know. I was just like, oh, I'm just gonna go
Yeah, yeah.
here. It's like the entrepreneurial, you know, dorm or whatever. And it just turns out that in name
That's awesome.
only, but basically, so I was there and I was like doing my stuff, and I do remember like people really actually making fun of me or excluding me because of some of that stuff. But then similarly throughout college, and it wasn't that crowd that changed, because obviously it was a big university.
Yeah, yeah,
I
for sure.
found
Yeah.
my crowd. I found my people in the entrepreneurship club. You know, I ended up running that club, and people. You know, I found like the group of people to really empower, and also like I'm really. That's honestly one thing that I am really glad that I was able to do in college as well, was actually help empower other entrepreneurs and lift them up too. And I still have people that reach out and that were part of the entrepreneurship club, and now like what has been built into, that have gotten a lot of value from that, which is great. So
That's awesome. I have a question about college. We're going to continue down the story, but we're going to go off a little side tangent here. Um, I would say that I'm about as anti-college as they come. I think particularly for entrepreneurs, I think that with rare exceptions, college is pretty much a scam, right? I think the ROI, unless, I mean, obviously there's exceptions. If you get full ride scholarships, it's paid for, you know, there are the exceptions there. Even then, though, I think there are potentially better options, right? That's my opinion. I'm curious to know, as someone who, you know, you went to college, you're 26 years old, you've made $200 million for your clients. Don't worry, I'm going to ask how much you've made here in a second. But like you've had a lot of success, right? You obviously went to school. What is your take on college? Do you think it was worth it for you? Do you think it's worth it for the average entrepreneur that wants to go into business?
so that's a really great question. And I think that it depends on the entrepreneur, and it also depends on how you're viewing college, because I actually do agree that and the reason I went to the college that I went to was because I saw what you were saying in a lot of the other colleges I got into, and even more, quote unquote, prestigious colleges. I remember I got into a couple different business, more business school colleges. And I went there and I was saying, I'm so excited to like, build up like at the acceptance students day or whatever. I'm so excited to like build up my business. Here's what I've done. And I remember like two of these like more, prestigious business colleges saying, oh, well, that's great to get you in, but you're going to learn all the, all the ins and outs of real business here.
Right.
It's like,
right.
wait a second, this is a real business. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And so it wasn't until I saw at UMass Amherst and I met with not just the people at Eisenberg, it was more the people at the Berthume Center for Entrepreneurship there. And particularly I had an entrepreneurial advisor throughout my time at college, Professor Burton Cowden, and he talked about how, he wanted to inspire people to build their business there, like in college. And so I think having him and finding that program and finding the entrepreneurship club and entrepreneurship center in that college was so important. And one of the main reasons I chose to go there was because they were the only university I looked at that said, we want to encourage you to build your business here, and we want to accelerate and help you, launch your business after college. Because I had that conversation beforehand, and that's what I knew I wanted to do. And that's also where I think if entrepreneurs can find a place that has that, if they are potentially going to go to college, is to look for a college that's actually going to encourage you and have people and have support to help you launch and build your own thing. Because then it can almost be seen like an incubator, because you're going to be around people, people that you could potentially hire for your team, or bring onto your team. If you can find a crowd of entrepreneurs, then you're going to be able to be in that group. And for me, even though my YouTube channel was at a certain point, I do still think that going to college was a good path for me, because it allowed me to kind of incubate what my next business would be. And during that time frame, I was able to really focus a lot on business, but do so in an environment where I was surrounded with, other like entrepreneurs and able to learn certain things, more like accounting and different stuff that I needed to know, just at least have a surface level understanding. Now I have obviously accountants and all that stuff, but so I do think that there were some good foundations, but I would not go there to learn how to be an entrepreneur. I would go there to get connected potentially with people, and also have almost like a place where you can incubate an idea and not be afraid to fail if there's some business ideas that don't get off the ground, because you have kind of the backdrop of being still in college. And then by the end, have the goal of having that business that can really support you long term.
That's interesting. Did you pay for college, or did you get a scholarship?
So I had some degree of scholarship, but not like a full scholarship. But I did basically pay for a bit. Like I was, definitely in a fortunate area where I was able to pay for college with. My YouTube channel at the time was earning around six figures, so I was able to.
Yeah. Well, okay. So and because I think people, particularly knowing my audience and knowing the type of conversations we have here, I think, people want to know this from someone like you, right? Like you, and I want to reiterate to listen. I mean, you've had an incredible amount of success, right? In a very short period of time. I'm sure you hear that a lot. If someone's, they're 18 years old, they're fresh out of high school, they want to be an entrepreneur, they don't have a YouTube channel, right? They don't have a revenue stream or whatever. And maybe they do find a college that maybe is supportive, maybe, right? But hey, I'm going to go $80,000 into debt or $100,000 into debt to go and do that. Do you think that particularly is worth the investment, or do you think that there's better alternatives?
Knowing what I know now, I think there's definitely better alternatives. I think that what I knew then, the path that I went was the best path for me at that time.
Yeah. I'm just
but knowing what I know now, I do agree. I think that we need definitely some kind of overall education reform. So I'm right there with you on that. I also think, though, that at the same time, we need resources for people that do take the college path to be able to discover entrepreneurship. So I also think that that's something that while I was there, I really wanted to help build up. We took the entrepreneurship club from, 1 to 2 dozen people to over 150 people by the time I left.
That's amazing.
And I think that that's something that I think is important, is that, there is showing people that there is a path to do something else. But I do agree. Like if you're 18 and you're looking at like, do I do this, go into debt over here, or do I actually start building things and building that out? Then I think there's a really big opportunity for you to go and take that money you would have put into there and really invest in having mentors or people that are going to help you build and grow inside of your business and learn more tactical things. So I definitely agree with that. And I also think there's another path and there's a way to support people in that other path too.
Yeah, and I would tend to agree with you, particularly on the development of the entrepreneurial club, let's call it, right? I think that though perhaps we should do that earlier, right? Maybe not in college, right? Like, maybe even having the option to go to and discover more entrepreneurial type of things before college, right? Maybe when you're 16 or 17 or even 18, 19, right? But like my big beef with the college system is that, well, first off, they don't teach you how to think anymore. They teach you what to think for the most part, right? Sounds like you went to a great school, which is fortunate, right? But a lot of them, are not. But also, like, I feel like this you put a lot of kids that don't have a lot of real world experience into a completely and utterly not real reality of the world for 4 years, right? Oftentimes racking up $80,000 or $100,000 in debt, right? Having many, many, many professors, right, that don't know anything about business, that have never worked in the real world. I mean, like, dude, I asked, so my buddy, a couple of my buddies, right, we do a Bible study at my house, and they all have 4-year degrees and whatever. And I asked them, hey, do you guys know what Fiverr is? Not one of them knew what Fiverr was, right? Then I went, my sisters are in college, right? I asked them, not one college class talked to them about what Fiverr was. And I'm like, you understand that, like, you can get anything in the world done on Fiverr that's on the internet. Like, how do you take a 4-year degree in business or in marketing and not know what Fiverr is, right? And so, like, to me, it's just college is so outdated in so many ways. And I would agree with you on the concept that if we can help people that want to discover the path of entrepreneurship, and I think you said it best, we need a definite overhaul of education reform at a core level. So I appreciate you sharing your thoughts on that. I want to continue with the ads though. So you got into you got this organic channel, right? At this point, you've had a success. You're able to pay for college with it. You've had the hate, then the support, then the hate, then the support. At what point did you get into the paid side of things? Because I feel like that, correct me if I'm wrong, that seems to be where it went from, okay, I'm making some decent money here, to, yo, we've got, Inc. 5000, 3 years in a row, right? So when did that happen?
That exactly. And that was the pivotal moment. And so that was about 9 years ago now, or 8 or 9 years ago, is in the 2015 to 2016 timeframe. And so basically what I was able to do was I had all these sponsors that were sponsoring the channel. And one of them was they had it was a performance marketing company, but they represented a bunch of apps. And so they hired me to do a video on a social media networking app. I do the video and they get hundreds of downloads. Like, this is great. Can we take that video and have you just post it again to the channel? And they wanted me just to post the same video twice to the same channel. They wanted to double the results because they didn't really understand, how marketing worked. Maybe they learned from the, those textbooks.
They went to college. That's what they did.
Exactly. But yeah. So they thought like I could just post it again and double the results. So I had to tell them, hey, it doesn't work like that. But what if we do this? What if we take the money you were going to spend on me posting the video again, which at the time was like $500? Why don't we take that and put that into YouTube ads and just reach more people that are similar to the people already watching it? And I had wanted to experiment with YouTube ads. I'd actually been doing a little bit of experiments for some subscriber growth campaigns, but nothing to actually promote something. So I wanted to see what would happen. I take that video, spend $500, and in a week, they end up getting thousands of downloads for their app. So now they're looking at that and they come back to me and they say, this is incredible. And so they want me to keep running that promotion. So we keep running that promotion, put some more money into it. But then they also say, we've got another app, and this is an even bigger app that we'd love for you to promote. And I'll tell you the longer story, which is funny because they came to me and they're like, so, I guess we didn't really pay you to do the promotion. Like, what's your rate to run ads? Like, what's your hourly rate? I'm just thinking, well, what's a high number that I can negotiate off of? So like
Yep.
that popped in my head. And so the
That's how we
big thing
all
that
start,
popped in
right?
my head
Yep.
exactly was $100 an hour. So I say $100 an hour, and they say done. I'm like, what?
Yep.
That's where I was thinking. Okay, this is crazy. They just
Yeah.
agreed to $100 an hour for me to like run these YouTube ads. That's how I knew I had something big, and how impressed they were with that. And so then though that next app that I was working with, and there was I can tell you potentially offline after, but there was like NDA, so I'm not going to talk about the specific one, but it ended
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
like a pretty big application. And so the second app that I ever ran like YouTube ads for had over $1,000 a day budget, and then they kept growing it from there. And I was just going in, and I just naturally found out that I was good at media buying and running these types of ads, and I understood YouTube. I was on YouTube
Yeah.
for at that point like about 7 years, so I understood YouTube, and I also understood elements of marketing and these different things. And so that's, I think, what lended itself to, oh well, of course I'm going to promote this video in front of people who are interested in these types of apps, and
Yeah.
and build that out. And so essentially that promotion did so well that they wanted me to, so they call me up, they say, hey, Aleric, we want you to drop out of college, fly out here to Silicon Valley, join our team, be, you can run like our YouTube ads division, we're all in our 20s, like you're gonna fit right in. And I it was tough, but I turned it down. I actually ended up turning it down 3 times. By the end, they had an offer that they thought was like so irresistible. It was like, we're going to give you this 6-figure job offer, vested stock options. You can keep your YouTube channel, which originally was something that they were less keen on. And so they had all these different stuff. And I turned it down. And I think that here's the thing is like, this is the area where I did know, like, I had at this point, because this was my sophomore year in college by this point, and I knew that I wanted just to launch pad myself
Yeah.
with business after college, and I did not. That would have been, for me, that would have been more of the trap actually than college was, because I was able to find a place that I could springboard myself, which
Yeah.
I know not everybody can. But I knew if I went that other direction, I could be trapped in this kind of more corporate system,
Yeah.
or even though it is startups, it's like VC stuff, but I could be there. I didn't want to be the knight in somebody else's castle. I want to be the king
Yeah.
of my own castle, even if it starts smaller and I could
Yeah.
build it. And so that's where I made the decision that this is a big opportunity. If they're willing to pay me that for this,
Yeah.
then I need to double down on this
Yeah.
and go into YouTube ads.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy how $100 an hour used to be so much like incomprehensible amounts of money, right? It's like, what? So funny.
I know.
Okay, so how did you say, like, so you're getting this ad space, you've been in the YouTube organic for 7 years. I want to dive further into that, right? As we continue to kind of march down this journey of how we got to here today. But like, how does the organic side of things differ from the paid ad side of things, and how are they similar? And for context, once again, my background, the Instagram space, right? So my like all the shady like Telegram groups and black market of Instagram and whatever, like I was in on all of that, right? Like, so you get it like craziness, right? Like the whole, you see the the Kylie Jenners of the world or whatever, and how they grew their Instagram, or the Fire Festival when they were promoting it. I don't know. Have you seen the Fire Festival
Yeah, I
documentary?
did see that documentary.
Dude, we were reached out to post the pictures, right? They paid us to put, crazy, right? Like, I don't know, like, so
Yeah.
like that whole world of organic, like it's a world that most people, like, it doesn't even sound real, right? Like, you kind of get into that world and you see the analytics and the data and what's working, what's not working or whatever, right? So like organic has been my world. And shortly into my career, I got banned from running ads on Facebook, right? Like I was permanently banned. I couldn't run ads. We just got our ads account. We just literally launched ads for the very first time last week, right? So like, I'm like, we're brand new into this ad stuff, right? But when I started studying the paid ad side of things, and I hung out with Dan Henry, and obviously he's done, super well for himself with ads and stuff. I'm like, yo, this is so different from the organic world, right? Like the way you run an organic accounts and stuff on Instagram and on social is very different than on paid. However, I am very, I'm a YouTube virgin, let's say, right? I don't know the YouTube platform very well. how are they similar? How are they different? How like what do you see and how did that help you, like your experience in the organic, how did that help you figure out what to do with the paid side of things?
Great question. And I think what it taught me is what people wanted to see with the video ads that they happen to see. And now more and more people are doing this. And also part of that is we ended up training a lot of different people. I don't want to take, credit for the overall direction, but people are seeing now what I've been talking about, which is that value-based ads that feel more like a YouTube video work the best. And so earlier on with the apps, and that was kind of like that next step as I started doing YouTube ads for mobile apps and I tapped my network that it all sponsored me. And that was kind of like the next part of that is like I was able to go and work with these different apps. But what I didn't do was create what they wanted me to create, which was just this, these generic like app ads that if you call it the time, like you would even see these ads on the Super Bowl or whatever. And it would just, be all these animations. And I didn't, first of all, I didn't know how to make all that. That was
Yeah.
But also I knew
Fiverr,
exactly
bro.
Fiverr. That's true. You can just do Fiverr on there. But anyways, but also second of all, like that's not what people wanted. They wanted a review style video, somebody to tell them. Now it's not technically a review. You got to be careful with that. But somebody to tell them like, this is a great app. I just discovered this awesome app. Here's what it does, or we're in partnership with this app and like, here's what it does. And basically walk them through what this application is going to be able to do and how it's going to help them. And it's almost like the UGC ads of the app days or of other things. It's like, you have an ad that just feels so much more like, authentic. And it's like, hey, here's how to use this app that's going to help you solve this problem. Right.
Yeah.
And I think that is what kind of helped me get into that side of things. But then when I started working with more education-based businesses, coaching, consulting, info style businesses, and of course, e-commerce and SaaS businesses too. But, especially like, let's say the education businesses, well, they're experts, right? And so if a lot of people think like with these types of ads, it's more interruption based, things like that. But on YouTube, people are looking to learn. So they're going on YouTube, they're trying to figure out, okay, how can I grow my business? How can I start my business? How can I, learn Instagram? How can I, lose weight? Like how, what are the personal development, things like that.
Pause there real quick, just for the audience that does not know the difference between those two types of ads, right? In the interruption based ad versus a search based or an educational based ad. Explain the difference for those, because not everybody knows that.
Okay, perfect. And this is really important to understand. This is one of the big differences with YouTube versus other platforms.
Hugely,
and also
hugely
doing this
yeah.
on YouTube is really key. And I think that also goes hand in hand with the question you asked. So I'll loop back to that as well. Yeah. But basically, interruption-based ads is, let's say you're scrolling on, Facebook or Instagram, or even now TikTok or other platforms like that, where it's all scrolling.
Twitter,
algorithm.
X.
They're scrolling, and then they see an ad, and they're, oh, that's interesting as like a pattern interrupt. It's like, hey, here's, like, it's like flash on the screen. It's like, stop the scroll. You've probably seen a lot of this stuff, like, and it's got a banner and some big text.
And this is the Dan Henry, dancing on a yacht to propose more deals, boats and hoes, right? Yeah, 100%.
Exactly. I remember his yacht. The yacht ad, and exactly all that stuff. Or I think it was like Billie Jean that was, did the Greatest Showman. He's out there dancing. Those types of things, exactly. So those are, it stops the scroll. It's like, oh, that's interesting. I'm going to look at that and see what it is, and then potentially click, take action. And again, I'm not saying that those ads don't work. They work. But it's a different type of ad. And so on YouTube, people are going on YouTube to learn. And these ads appear in a different way. They appear in front of a video with sound on. You have to watch the first 5 seconds before you're able to skip. So this gives you the opportunity to actually hook in your ideal clients and then provide some value and then have a call to action. The hook, educate, call to action, so the main elements of this. But it's really about a value ad where you're providing value. You want to feel like a YouTube video. So people are watching that. And instead of it being all kind of the flash and those types of things that people are used to tuning out, especially when they see it as a video-based ad, people have tuned out commercials for a long time, right? Yeah. What you want to do is create a video that feels natural, authentic, that people are watching, where you say, in this video, I'm going to show you how you can X, Y, and Z, how to grow and scale your Instagram account to, to millions of followers, or how to, why the biggest mistakes that you're making right now on Instagram and how to solve them, right? That type of ad, and then providing some value in the ad, and then having a call to action at the end of the ad that then gets them to sign up for a training. In the past, more webinars. These days, it's more trainings and things, but or a PDF or whatever it happens to be as the call to action. But you're basically getting them through that video where you're capturing their attention, calling out who that person is, educating and providing value, and then causing them to take action. This is more of an intent-based ad because somebody has searched on YouTube or on Google. We'll talk about targeting and how all that works in a second, but they have done a search. They're trying to figure out, how do I grow on Instagram? Maybe they're watching a video about how to grow on Instagram. Or Google just happens to know there's different ways to target people, or Google just happens to know they're interested in that. They're in market for that type of thing. Now they're watching a video, and then you get in front of them. You have 5 seconds to capture their attention and then explain why they should watch the rest of the video, where you want to provide value in that ad first to show that you're going to be able to provide them value, then get them to take action at the end of the ad.
Yeah, and it's super interesting. I think, especially what you said there at the end, it's search based, right? It's like I versus if I run a Facebook ad or an Instagram ad, a TikTok ad, whatever. I'm not searching. I'm not running ads to keywords, right? I'm running ads to a specific type of person, but I'm not doing it based on a search, right? Or with Google or YouTube, but owned by Google, right? It would appear that you're specifically searching. You can target keywords, right? Like knowing what people are actually searching and putting specific videos based on a particular search, right? So
exactly, it's a search intent. You can target people based on searches on YouTube, but also on Google. And some people don't know this because Google owns YouTube. It's all part of the Google ad platform. You can target people based on YouTube searches, but also on Google searches as well.
So if I target a keyword and somebody searches that keyword on Google, right? Let's say. So I'm like, what I do now, my background, like I said, is Instagram, but then I discover the world of high ticket selling, and I'm like, oh, this is how you get rich. Got it. Okay. So we have a sales training company, right? Sales and marketing training. So if someone searches, how to sell a high ticket offer, let's say, right? Or, how to do whatever the thing is on Google, then the next time that they log into YouTube, since YouTube is owned by Google, does Google then know, right? Oh, they're also over here now on YouTube. So if you're going to run a YouTube ad, even though they didn't technically search it on YouTube, they searched it on Google, they know to put that in front of them?
Yes, they do. And that's exactly what
crazy.
You could target. You could target the people looking up how to sell high ticket, how to get into high ticket sales, all those different questions on Google or on YouTube, and then target them with that YouTube ad.
And see, I think that's what, Facebook ads, especially in the info product space, right? Facebook ads were, for the longest time, just all the craze, right? I mean, that was the secret to getting rich, was just run Facebook ads, right? And I think that I don't think a lot of people understand those two distinctions, right? So I want to come back to the kind of looping back to the original question here, which are because Facebook organic versus Facebook paid, they're so different, like almost polar opposite different worlds on the same platform. It's fascinating. It sounds like that's not the case on YouTube. So could you explain a little bit more about the similarities perhaps between, YouTube organic versus a YouTube paid?
Yeah. So exactly. So YouTube organic, really what you want to do is it's very similar structure of a video. The beginning of the video is really important because you want people to, watch it. So you want to call out what they're going to get, what's the value of the video, because people could bounce off that video the same way people could skip an ad. And watch time is so important. It's not just about people clicking on a video. You want them to watch it organically. Same thing with your ads. You want them to watch and go through the video. So you want to capture their attention. You want to hook them in. Then with both an ad and an organic video, you want to provide value. Now, in organic video, you do want to provide a little bit more. Usually those videos are a little bit longer. So that is a difference between organic and an ad. An ad is usually going to be around 2 to 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, kind of in that area. Usually we recommend around 2.5 to 3 minutes.
Okay.
And then when it comes to your organic videos, typically you actually want to have about an 8 to 15 minute long video. It's a little bit longer, has a longer watch time. The algorithm is favoring that type of length of video these days. And also longer videos too, as long as your retention's good on it. But in general, that's, maybe an 8 to 15 minute video. And similarly though, you want to capture people's attention, provide value. And then if you're doing this, especially you have an offer, maybe you have a high ticket offer. At the end of it, you get people to take action. And in sign up, it's just unorganic. You say, hey, click the link down below or subscribe to the channel. And then on your ad, it's more direct. Click the link here on the screen and you can go to this page and sign up for our training. And so it's a similar type of structure. And when it comes to, I think the big thing that's different is the targeting. And that is something that I had to learn that's different from organic to ads, is the platform, how to set it up, the targeting. And that's something that I really just refined over time, and is one of the big things that, we help people with. And also, even since then, I'm sure we'll get into this too, but I even like developed a software around some of that targeting as well.
And that's where I actually kind of want to go next with this, right? So I want to go back to the story for a second, though, kind of take us through this, because I think the software, you have a software, you've got the fractional CEO stuff, or not fractional CEO, fractional media buyer, right, stuff. And I want to get into that. Take me back, though. You mentioned something of like you had to learn targeting, okay? I want to come back to, you're in college when you're starting to learn this ad stuff, right? You're a sophomore at this point. Well, you're 21 in that time frame. You start getting into the ad stuff, right?
Yeah.
Or 19, 20, right?
Yeah, around 19, 20.
How did, like, dude, you're 26, your mind, like, I've talked to you, like, have you ever met Sam Ovens? You've met Sam, yeah, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Briefly, but yeah.
Okay, so I'm no Sam. I'm actually an investor in school. Like, I was in Sam's mastermind. We text back and forth. Like, you sit down with that dude. I remember we were out, we went to his mastermind, and afterwards, everybody went out to a bar. And, I don't know, there's like probably 25 or 30 of us. And it's like every single person at the bar is drinking. I don't drink. And Sam didn't drink either. So like everyone there, it's like 11 o'clock at night, everyone's drinking except for me and Sam. And like, we're sitting there and I'm like getting to ask Sam about, his family life and God and religion. And like, what do you think? Like, just fascinating. And you can just tell, like, this dude's brain just different, right? Like built, like he like thinks and processes like a computer almost, right? And you can like watch him think. It's fascinating, right? And I feel like you have a similar style, maybe not exactly like Sam, but like your brain works. Like, I've had conversations with you, at the party, like I've seen your stuff. Your brain clearly works differently than the average person's does, right? And that is a huge compliment, all right? How did being on YouTube, how did getting into this ads world, figuring out the targeting, how did that shape how your mind developed, let's say, and kind of your thought process and things? Because I'm sure it had to play a role, right? I mean, with social media, it played such a huge role in my life with, and seeing that. So how did that shape and develop your mind? How does your mind kind of think and work with that? And then how did that lead you into getting into this targeting stuff?
Yeah. So first of all, thank you. And that's definitely something that I think that as I dove into the world of media buying and ads, I realized that I was kind of uniquely wired for that. And I think part of it is really testing different things, seeing what works and rapidly iterating. I think that that's something that I naturally do, and I've been able to do with these ads, and then teach other people. This is how you do this. This is a primary skill, is being able to go in and testing different things and taking and seeing when things don't work. That's data that you can use to learn that this didn't work. All right, let's do more of this. So the way I kind of illustrate it is, let's say you're throwing darts at a dartboard. Well, when you first start throwing those darts, you're not necessarily going to hit the bullseye every time. You're going to land on some of those outer rims. And what you want to do is you want to say, okay, maybe if I just move it over a little bit, I change the trajectory, change the angle. And once you start actually getting better at throwing those darts and getting to that bullseye, that's when you can start replicating and doing more of that and scaling that up. It's the same thing with ads. So if you look at your, media buying and your targeting, you want to go in and say, okay, I'm going to target these keywords. People looking up, how to sell high ticket, how to build a high ticket, business, how to get into high ticket sales. And then I'm going to see which of these keywords is actually going to be producing the best results, paired with what video. So I'm going to test 5 different video hooks and 5 different audiences, maybe with inside of each of these, they have their own keywords. And then we're going to see which ones work, which ones don't. The ones that don't, it's not that that's a bad thing. It's actually helping you. It's giving you data to turn off those ads and then say, I'm not going to do more of this. I'm going to do more of this to actually get better results. And so I think that it's this kind of win or learn mindset. And I definitely have adopted that with with ads, but also just in general in business too, is that every single action that you're taking, every test that you're doing either produces a win or a learning lesson that's going to teach you, okay, this is data that I can use to learn what doesn't work. Now I'm going to do more of what does work. And so when I started
Yeah.
getting into the media buying and ad side, I started realizing a lot of it is testing, iterating, and then when you find the winners, scaling those up. When you find what doesn't work, not repeating that mistake and learning from it.
So then going into then the software that you've now developed, right? Obviously AI, like I feel like your brain and AI are just like, oh, it's like a match, right? You're like, oh, this is great. So, the question that I had for years, part of the reason I was terrified to run paid ads, right? And I think this is a very prevalent, I'm sure you've, seen it with a lot of people we work with, is I'm like, okay, but like I have this much money, and if I spend this much money and it does not ROI, right? Then great, that's all fine and dandy. I learned, but also I didn't make any money. Now I'm out of money type of deal, right? I'm oversimplifying, but you get the concept of it, right? Which is, yes, data is important. Yes, learning, and getting that feedback is important. Also, I think there needs to be a realistic expectation going in that like you're going to pay for stuff, right? And you're going to lose some of that at the beginning, right? So realistically, if someone is starting out, and by starting out, I mean, let's say, I'll use me as an example, right?
Yeah.
I have a successful business. I certainly, I can afford to drop, a couple $1,000s or $10,000 on ads, right? And it not, break my bank or anything. But also, I don't have any expectation. I have no concept of how much I should be testing, how much I shouldn't be testing, what I should be testing, right? So like going into this, what should someone realistically expect when it comes to data, right? Like how much I'm testing, what feedback, what numbers, what metrics am I looking for? And then B, after that question, going into the software, how does the software then, or what is your software and how does it help with that?
Yeah. So that's a really good question. And I think a lot of people who haven't dove into ads as much, they think the exact same way. So that's actually a really, really good question to ask there. And I think that the way to look at it is usually you're not going to, it's going to be somewhere in the middle. It's like a bell curve, right? The odds of you launching those ads, as long as you're following some form of strategy, and that's why, and I can dive deeper into, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's also what the software helps with too. But as long as you're following a strategy, you're not just like blindly, trying to figure it all out. As long as you follow a strategy, you're going to fall somewhere on a bell curve where the most common is you're going to have some of your campaigns or your ads or your videos or your audiences work and some not work. Now, is it technically possible? Yes, to have it all completely bomb or have it all be perfect and it's a jackpot day one? Yes, but that's on opposite sides of the bell curve. And in most reality, it's going to be somewhere in the middle or on one side or the other, where you have some campaigns that didn't work and a couple that do, or a bunch that work and a couple that don't. That's why I always recommend not putting all your eggs in one basket. Don't just launch one campaign. If you can, don't just launch two. I really recommend launching, what we'll do, and I explain this very clearly, and I've been training ads for a long time now. We also are running ads at a high level for some clients as well. But because we train a lot of businesses, I explain this. What we want to do is line you up for the best success by throwing darts strategically so that we know that some of these are going to land on the dartboard so we can get closer to the bullseye. So what we want to do is launch, let's say, 4 different campaigns. And inside each of these campaigns, there's going to be different ads with different hooks, different educate sections. And then usually the call to action will be to one funnel. We're not controlling for the funnel variable.
Okay.
But
I was going to ask that. Okay.
That's the next thing that we'll figure out, because then what could happen is if the metrics are good on the ad side, but maybe the funnel, then we look at the funnel, we look at that. So it is a holistic approach. But just let's take the funnel variable out of it if we're just controlling for the ad side of things. Because even if the funnel isn't the highest performing funnel, what you'll still be able to tell is what ads and targeting works best. Right. Then it's like, all right, now let's just test another funnel and test it with whatever we find works over here. So this will still be good. But let's say we have 4 different campaigns. Inside of those campaigns, we have 5 different ad variations. And let's say we actually have 10 total ads, because maybe you come up with 5 hooks and there's 2 different educate sections and 1 call to action. Well, you film all the hooks, hook 1, hook 2, hook 3, hook 4, hook 5, educate 1, educate 2, and then the call to action, and you string them together in post-production and editing. So now you have 10 different videos. So let's say you take all the hooks with one educate in this campaign, all the hooks with the other educate in this campaign, and you also clone that across another couple campaigns. Then you do, intent-based audience targeting. So this is what people are searching for on Google and YouTube. So they're looking up high ticket. They're looking up, how to sell high ticket, how to learn high ticket. Maybe do a few audiences based on intent. You could do what's called in-market audiences. So you could build an in-market and affinity or custom affinity audience. That's just describing what people are generally interested in. So they could be interested in high ticket sales. They could be interested in making money online or in internet marketing or things like that, right? So that's kind of more general versus what they're actually searching. This is more using Google's data, similar to how you might target an interest on Facebook.
I was going to say that's a little bit closer to that. Yeah,
exactly. So you could do that with one set. Then you could do what's called URL affinity targeting. So you can actually target people based on websites that they've been on before or similar sites. Now, some people don't.
Hold on. Meaning, not my own website, like somebody, like I could target people that visited NFL.com.
Yes, and that's what people don't realize you could do. I call it ethically hijacking your competitor's traffic.
Oh man, you're gonna convince me that before we're done here, bro, I'm gonna be switching over to YouTube ads. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. So how does then? Because keywords, right? And that's what I don't know anything about your software, right? But I want to talk about it, right? How does the software help with this? Because it's keyword research or what?
Keywordsearch.com. Yeah, and so exactly, and I'll get back into the URL side in a second. But what keyword search does is it allows you to find what people are searching for on Google and YouTube for your ideal audience. It allows you to find potential in-market audiences or interests that they are interested in on YouTube and Google Ads. It also allows you to discover, URLs that people are potentially going to. And
this is crazy.
And then what you can do is choose which ones you want. So, okay, these are all the different audiences. These are all the different search terms I want. Just select them, and it'll come up with literally hundreds of these search terms. It'll categorize them together. So it'll have a category that says, high ticket sales search terms, and it'll have all the different ones. If you want more search terms, you just click expand, it'll find more. And then you just select that group, and then you click sync to Google Ads. You hook up your Google Ads account once. Once you do that, you can one-click sync it to Google Ads, and now that's an audience that you can target inside of Google Ads.
I can be an idiot. I mean, I'm pretty dumb, right? Like, you're smart, I'm dumb, all right? I can be an idiot, and I can use this software, and I can figure out how to target on YouTube.
That's the idea, is that anybody can use the software and target. And
that's fantastic.
Part of it is it used to take hours and hours. We ran a study, so we got about 15,000 users now inside of keyword search. The average time it takes for somebody to go from searching for for a potential audience to actually going and syncing that audience is 2.6 minutes. So that means in 2.6 minutes, you can go to build a full custom Google audience. It's the average time. Yeah.
That is wild, dude. Yeah, you said you have 15,000 users on that?
Yeah, 50,000, and that includes the free,
Yeah, okay, bro. I want to continue on this. I just got to straight up ask you.
Yeah.
How much money you make?
Yeah. So, so I've got, we scaled, ad outreach, so we've done over 36 million, overall. So we've gotten one of our 2 Club C awards, working on that next 2 Club C, and that's with ad outreach. And then I also have, keyword search as well. We're continuing to grow that.
How much total across all your companies, how much money do you think you made in your life? You personally?
Total?
Like the companies that you own.
Yeah.
And I know you got payroll. I get it.
Yeah.
I understand how companies work, but just for a second, your YouTube ads or your YouTube organic revenue, your YouTube ads, your consulting, AdWords, or your AdSense company, or what was the name of your main company?
So ad outreach is
ad outreach. I knew that. Ad outreach, right? Ad outreach. You've got what was this one here? Keyword search. How much money do you think you made in your whole life?
It's likely it's probably between 40 and 45
million dollars.
Probably 40 to 45 million. But again,
that's almost $2 million per year of your entire life, bro. Right? Congratulate. Listen, you're the most humble guy in the world, so I'll brag for you. All right, that's freaking impressive, dude. Seriously, right? And that's something that like that type of money, which I mean, I know it's not $1 billion, but like for a 26-year-old to make that kind of money and still have the head that you have on your shoulders and still have like the humility that you have and still have, like focus on the team and the product. And I mean, you can tell you talk about this, you love what you do, right? You're passionate about this. You love it, right? You're into this. I mean, not only congratulations, but also like a crazy amount of respect for you. I think like this type of behavior, and I think people like you are like, this is what we should be celebrating and promoting in society. Right. And I know this is probably making you super uncomfortable, and I don't care because like, I mean, this is like truly, I mean, I mean that because you see so many people that are out there that just, I mean, they make that kind of money and they're not doing what you're doing. And so I just want to take a moment just to recognize that and appreciate that about you, because that's impressive, dude. Bro.
Thank you. I do. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, so now that we got that uncomfortable piece out of the way for you, back to the software. So primarily focus on keywords, right? What's the vision for this? Like, it obviously solves that problem, which is a huge, huge issue. What's the long-term vision of what you're doing with this?
Well, this is really exciting because the software side is something we're really, really ramping up. So we actually just launched our now this is the beta version of this, just to clarify, but the AI YouTube ad script writer, and
Okay.
it is better than the other script writer. So basically, if you ask ChatGPT to write a YouTube ad script, it's just going to kind of come up with just the average.
I've done it.
It's exactly. It's not going to be. It's not going to be the best because it's just using everything. It's like it's only as good as the prompting. Now,
Yeah.
I built a prompt. The prompt engineering. I watched some courses, did a couple things, built a prompt, and it's okay. It's like good. It's better. But what I wanted to do is build something even better. So we've been working on this since GPTs came out, whatever that was, like 4 months ago, 5 months ago. We've been working on this to plug this directly into the software, which basically.
Are you using OpenAI?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so OpenAI, and now the whole software isn't powered by that because we're also plugged into Google and YouTube's APIs. So that's how we're finding these search terms. There's also a couple other. So just to clarify, there's a lot more going up behind the scenes. And our software we've had for 3 years. Like, so before AI, we just kind of added AI into it. But in terms of the script writing, what we were able to do is take our 400 best YouTube ad scripts. And we've written thousands of these. We ran like so many different ads. We took our 400 best scripts and we plugged it in and uploaded it as training data to this YouTube ad AI script writer, so that it understands that these are the scripts that have actually gotten the best results on YouTube.
Wow.
And then it allows us to ask 4 simple questions about the business or what the particular ad is, and then it will go and generate an ad with the hook, educate, call to action framework. Now, it is important to note it's not going to be 100% from the initial click, but what it will do is it'll get you 80 to 90% of the way there, and then you just need to do those couple finishing touches to actually finish that ad and get it ready to go. And so, AI script writing is something that we've also added in too. And people, like, in general, they just care that it works. But the thing that I know is, like, behind the scenes, we're like feeding all the data to like actually make sure that it's not just going to produce like not the best ad. Like, we want it to be good, and that's why we could have put in not the best like AI scriptwriter earlier on, just with general ChatGPT, but we wanted to wait until it was like kind of perfected. We had this ability to train it. And so now that's something we added in as well, is the AI script.
Well, and I think that goes back to what I was saying with where like you love this stuff, dude, right? Like, this isn't something, it's not like you're trying to make a quick buck, right? Like, you're like, you want to be the best at this, clearly, right? Which is, awesome. And actually make something that's really good. And I think for people watching, right, that listen to these type of interviews, when they get to see that, like, because this conversation doesn't get, doesn't come across in an ad, right? And like, obviously ads work incredibly well, but like understanding like that level of like, dedication to the craft, right? That's fascinating. And is this available like now?
Yeah, it's available now. It's keywordsearch.com, and and the AI audience builder, that has been, we've had that for over a year now. The overall software we've had for 3 years. The AI audience builder for over a year. The AI scriptwriter we just rolled out, and it is producing some great scripts. Also, there's a possibility of some bugs. So I always got to say that We're doing kind of the grand unveiling of that in an upcoming webinar here. But yes, it's available now. And I'll tease. Okay, I'll give you a scoop because you asked where things are going. I have not shared this elsewhere, but it is in development. Also, exclusive. I cannot promise a specific timeline, but we are in process of adding in a AI audience builder, and we're working in conjunction with other people that this is their expertise. I know different, obviously YouTube ads, my bread and butter, but we're in the process of adding in a Facebook AI audience generator as well to help you find the best interest to target on the Facebook side so that it can be kind of an all-in-one. We already have YouTube ads and Google ads covered. Now, adding that in. And
are you taking on investors in the company? Because I will invest.
not currently, but I'll let you know.
Yeah, but for real, if you ever do funding or investors, please let me know, because this is fantastic. Is the script writer that's currently available now, is that only available? I see on the site here you have 3 different plans: keyword search, then plus the ad spy, and then plus the AI audiences. Is the scriptwriter available in all of them, or just in the AI audiences one?
So currently scriptwriter is available in all of them. There's a limit to the number of scripts you can write for these smaller ones. I have to remember off the top of my head. I think it's like 3, 10, and then basically unlimited per month. So again, obviously there's with everything, there's tiers, there's different things. We've got a development team and all that. But you could write scripts on all the tiers, and then, but if you want more unlimited scripts, obviously that's the highest tier. But you can definitely write several scripts. I don't have the exact numbers off the top of my head.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
We still got to update the website. We just rolled out some of those features. So yeah.
Nice. Nice. Okay, dude, this is exciting stuff. Guys, everybody go check that out. We'll link that down below. I want to kind of move on to the next phase with this. You have empowered not only on the education side of things, right? But now there's software to back this up so that idiots like me can go in and like be smart, right? Like, look at this. Like, AI is making, even the idiot smart. I want to start, like, pretend I'll use me as an example. Maybe, start maybe slightly below where I'm at in business, but for the sake of the conversation, a me type of person who I've got a high ticket product. I'm in the info space, or maybe I've got a high ticket service, right? But I'm in that info service online space. And I'm like, okay, it's time for me to scale. Like, it's time for me, like, it's proven. We've got the results. We've got business. We're doing multi 6 figures, right? I'm doing multi 7 figures, right? Like, or done multi 7 figures, doing 7 figures plus per year. And I go, all right, I want to, and this is the type of language I'm going to use. I just want, let's say I want to get disgustingly rich, right? I want to get Aleric rich, right? And I know you're whatever, right? But like, I want to make some serious money here. Okay. Walk me through, like, starting from ground zero right now. What's the process for me getting into YouTube ads, right? And like that, where do I start with that process?
Absolutely. So what I'll do is I'll walk you through what I'd recommend as an overall game plan. And then, that's also what we do,
that's where I'm going
with as well. Yep. So, and so then exactly, I can dive into that.
Yep.
So basically, what I would recommend starting with is making sure that you build out a funnel that is going to be able to take that traffic and convert them into that desired outcome, which is potentially going to be sales calls, or high ticket calls with your team. And ultimately, what we recommend is a video conversion funnel. We call it a video conversion funnel. It's basically a VSL funnel, but designed more for YouTube. Now, this is the type of thing that we consult our clients on. Our YouTube ads are our bread and butter, but we believe in the whole holistic approach, right? It's really important. Same thing with you when you're helping people with high ticket sales. You're probably also just saying, all right, well, we want to make sure that you've got, you're looking at the quality of leads, or you're looking at this, or you're looking at that. So you want to take a holistic approach. And so that's why we start with the foundation in mind. Before we even turn on the ads, we want to make sure that you've got a funnel that actually can appropriately convert the leads that come from those ads and actually get them to either buy whatever that is that you happen to be selling, or in the case of high ticket, go to a high ticket sales call where you can actually have that conversation. And so, what we like to do is do what we call a video conversion funnel with a video conversion training. Now, we use different language because I think it's important for people to separate a classic VSL from what we're talking about. A video conversion training is almost like a cross between a VSL and a YouTube video, because what we want to do is we want to provide value. It's got to feel like a YouTube video. It's got to feel like authentic. It's got to have the camera on most of the time, not just, you know, black text on a white screen. Again, I'm not trying to say like, you know, that's, you know, if that's what you're doing, like that's all well and good. But on YouTube, what's going to get the best conversion is to create a YouTube style video,
Yeah.
but with VSL principles, right?
Got it. Okay.
Designed to build the trust, a credibility, authority, designed to provide value and demonstrate different pillars that become the pillars of your potential offer on a sales call, designed to get people to build the gap between where people are, where they want to be, and then designed to say, hey, we're going to offer a complimentary strategy call to walk you through this. Click the link down below and then reaffirm that call, add a little bit of urgency, showcase some testimonials, case studies. That video is designed to do what a VSL does, but it feels more like a YouTube video. So it's a cross between a YouTube video and a VSL. So essentially,
I like that explanation too. I think that's a really good, like, you're taking the principles of the VSL but applying it to that YouTube style video, because it makes sense. Like when you sit back and think about it, you know, I remember watching Mr. Beast's interview, right? I think it was with Joe Rogan, and he was talking about how he's like, listen, if you want YouTube to like show your videos, like do what's best for YouTube, right? And he's like, you have to think through like where the customer's at, or like, you know, where the viewer's at. I feel like this is kind of the next level of that, which is if I'm watching a YouTube style video and then I click off and now all of a sudden it's like something that's completely different, right? It's my brain's not in that state, right? So I feel like that actually makes a lot of sense. Sorry, I do have one follow-up question to that before you go on, which is, what do you think of 5-day chat? Like, what do you think of the funnel being like, if I'm selling a ticket to like a 5-day challenge for that, like the VSL would still be like a YouTube style video for that, right? Like to sell the ticket, you wouldn't just go right to the 5-day challenge, right?
That's what I would recommend, is I would go to a VSL that would sell that, because a long form page works well on Facebook because of how Facebook works, right? People are scrolling, they click it, now they're on a page, they either read it there or they click the little, you know, open in Safari button, and they read it later. But now it's like a page that they're reading and they're scrolling. They're used to scrolling. So what are they doing on Facebook? They're doing the same thing to read that sales page. Oh, I want to buy it, click to buy. Versus, and they can do it on the computer too. I'm just using this as an easy example. Versus on YouTube, they're watching videos. So do you think that they're going to as easily convert from watching videos to reading a long form sales page? Not necessarily, right? So that's why
you get rid of it entirely. You
just do the video. I would go now. You can potentially have a sales page on the back end, but I would go to an opt-in or just directly to a video. But I would go to an opt-in or a video, and then that video is designed to get them to watch that. I'd really actually go to an opt-in, because then you could be following up with them via email, text, all that stuff. So an opt-in to get more details on the challenge, then the video that educates them on what is going to be involved in the challenge, why they should do it, then the link to go and sign up. And I would split test sending them just directly to a page where they can order it without a ton of information versus a page that has more information. And I will tell you that it just depends on the offer. We've seen it both ways, where a long form page versus not. Now, there's exceptions to every rule. We've got clients that run directly to a long form page. When they do that, we do recommend adding video somewhere into that page. But again, there's so many a lot of different paths to see that success. In general, though, what I do like to see is go from video to video, because it creates this seamless process. The other big mistake that people make is they make their sign up page super long and complicated. There's a direct correlation with YouTube ads. And I know it can be different on Facebook, because sometimes here's what happens on Facebook. People are scrolling. Oh, that looks interesting. Click. Oh, but I don't really know what this is. Let me learn more about it on this page before signing up. That's the experience on Facebook. On YouTube, it's different. They're watching a video. They're watching that video. They're now learning. They're like, oh, I want to sign up for this. Now, if they click that, if there's a lot of information on the page, it gets distracting. They're looking at it. They're like, I don't know. Oh, I thought this was more for this. Maybe I won't sign up. Versus headline of exactly what they're going to get, little graphic, name, email, phone number, opt-in. You've probably noticed this too without even really realizing it. Most of the top YouTube ads that you see, they send people to a page. It's not all, obviously, but they send people to a page that's very simple. And that's because they've split tested that and found that, and I know we found this, that a simple page converts far better. And that's the key to getting those conversion rates we've got one of our, because we've got different funnels. We've got our trainings, we got our webinars, different stuff. But we also have a PDF funnel. And we used to have some more details about it, but we split tested just a very simple, download a $200 million YouTube ad strategy PDF, picture of me with the PDF, name, email, opt-in. That funnel consistently is able to get above 30%, it's like 31-ish% opt-in rates from that YouTube traffic because it's so simple. Whereas when we did like more details, here's what you're going to get in the PDF, like the bullet points, all that stuff, it was more in like the 20 to 25%. So we were able to boost that conversion rate just by switching it over to have it be a much more simple page. And then we split tested the headline to exactly what people want. And by the way, another little tactic there is we found that having a VSL on the back end works really well with these types of PDFs. So you could go from a PDF just directly to, we call it Trojan Horse PDF. So, people could download the simple consumable. It says, great, your download's on the way. Then you just show them a video right afterwards. And by the way, I know you're in very in like all ClickFunnels, everything. So you probably knew about that strategy. But for people listening,
for sure. But it's fascinating because like I've most of my life I've done free challenges, right? And then I go pay Dan Henry $100,000 and go down to his house, and he's like, never free again, right? He's like paid everything, like all of his challenges, are paid. And I will tell you the show up rate, the engagement rate, the conversion rate, I mean, so much better on a paid challenge, like crazy, right? So like we're doing, our next paid challenge. That's a 5-day challenge. We're selling tickets, $100 and the upsell for, VIP or whatnot. When you're doing a paid challenge off of like YouTube or something like that, are you still going to like a free opt-in and then do it the ticket page, or are you just going directly to like a VSL with the ticket checkout page?
So, and just to clarify, again, we've got a lot of different clients on our team, so I'm not speaking to every single person. I interact with, more specific people, but actually I was just talking with somebody about this exact thing that has, successful challenge. But basically, what we will find is if you're running more of a VSL to be able to sell that, it is going to help convert more sales off of YouTube because they're watching video to video. But you might also lose some people because they opt in and then they go and watch that. So that's why if you just send it directly to the sales page, but then have a video that they can watch, that's going to be very valuable too.
Yeah,
but I also don't want to give you conclusive data, because this is something we're still testing. Whereas with other things, like if you're talking about directly going to like a VSL to book a call, I've got so much data on that I can give you like, here's what we found. But with the challenge funnel specifically, we have clients doing that and they're testing different things. And I can tell you a little bit, but I don't want to be conclusive about that.
That's good. So going back to, I want to get stupid rich, right? With ads, right? So I've got my funnel in place now. We've set it up. It's ready to go. We've got the what do you call it? The VSL plus YouTube video thing.
Yeah, video conversion funnel.
Video conversion funnel. Okay, so I've got that in place. It's set up. Now what?
Exactly. So now we've got that. The next step is having a script and an ad that's designed to actually convert and educate. We call it a value ad. So, it's a little play on words there, but it's really
revolutionary naming right there. Never thought of that. That's good. That's good. Yeah.
There you go. So what we want to do is we want to provide value inside of it. And so it goes hook, educate, call to action, just like that. So the hook, draws people in, captures their attention. Then from there, you want to educate, you want to give them golden nuggets, right? Why golden nuggets? Because they're incredibly valuable, but they're also small and bite-sized, right? So it's very valuable pieces of information, but it's bite-sized. I'll give you a couple examples. I'll give you an example of us and one of our clients just to show exactly what we mean by all this. Because if you can give people an aha moment in the ad, that is a game changer. I'll give you an example of hooks and to educate. And then the call to action is designed to get them off and to take action. You want to repeat the call to action several times. So on the hook, an example I'll use is, one of I'll give you our 2 top performing hooks that we have. So the first one is, it is a combination of a little bit of a pattern interrupt, but not in the same way that, people are scrolling, it's more visual and auditory. They're hearing it. It's pattern interrupt. But what it also does is it presents a problem and solution and then walks them through how I'm going to educate them in the video. So it goes like this. And this is our top ad of all time. It's It's not our current. So we have, I'll get into another ad that's actually working quite well for us right now. But this one ad made over 8 figures. This one ad, which is crazy. Like it's just one, I can literally track it back to this singular video with this hook. So it goes like this: YouTube ads beat Facebook ads every time. Let's face it, Facebook ad costs are going through the roof. And even when you have a great ad, they're almost impossible to scale. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can use YouTube ads, just like the one you're watching right now, to scale your business to 6, 7, and 8 figures. And then there you go. What I'm able to do.
I've literally seen that ad like 7 times at least. Like, I know exactly what ad you're talking about.
Exactly. And that's, and obviously, because we ran it a lot. It's our best, our best performer historically. And so, but you can see, I'll break it down though, because now what I want to make very clear is I did not sit down as like a scientist and like architect the perfect ad that generated this. What you didn't see is the other dozens and dozens of ads that I filmed, maybe half a dozen at the same time, but dozens and dozens prior to that led to that, all with varying degrees of success, some that flopped and some that did well. And then it led me to getting to this one. So that's what I talked about earlier, which is, getting to that bullseye. So I'm going to dissect what makes this ad work, but don't think that means I can just go out and write from scratch as only one ad, an 8-figure ad. Even doing that for a 7-figure ad is very challenging, right?
Yeah.
But what you can do is you can take multiple shots at it using these principles, and then you have a higher likelihood that one of them converts like this. So basically, YouTube ads beat Facebook ads every time. So people are watching that, and it's doing a couple things at once. So first of all, you want to pull in your ideal clients, but then push away people that aren't a good fit. So first of all, it just talks about ads. If you're not in the online marketing world,
clarifying question on that. When you say pull people in and push your ideal clients in and push away your non-ideal clients, does YouTube then, the ads and the algorithm, like, does it start to learn the more you run ads for your account of like who's watching, who's not, and start to place it more in front of it?
Exactly, it does.
Okay.
So you want people that aren't a good fit to skip, because then people that are going to watch it, and you're training that algorithm of who is actually interested. And so I'm talking about ads. If you're not in the online marketing and, like entrepreneur world, you can be like, what is this guy talking about? Skip. So first of all, it does that. But then I'm saying something controversial that is going to get people to lean in, whether they agree, disagree, or are open. They're going to lean in and say, wait, I got to see what he has to say. Then I call out the two of the 3 biggest pain points on Facebook ads. The third being account shutdowns, which you actually brought up earlier. But the other 2 is cost go. And I actually have some other ads that called that out more specifically. But the other 2 being cost going up. And then even when I have great campaigns, having them be hard to scale because it's more algorithmic than YouTube is more intent-based. So there's some benefits on scaling. So I get into that. Then I talk about how they're going to get value from the ad. In this ad, I'm going to show you how you can scale your business, 6, 7, 8 figures using YouTube ads. And I also have credibility, just like the one you're watching right now. So it's like, well, obviously I'm running a YouTube ad in front of you. It's like, so that's obviously that's unique to me just because of that.
Right.
I'm basically doing these different things. So all those pieces get people to then want to watch that next section, but then I deliver, because what I do is let's hop over to my computer screen. I'll show you how this works. So then on there, in that earlier ad, the reason it's not the top performer, I have other variations of that hook, is because it was a little bit more early on. This was back when people didn't really even understand how YouTube ads work. So I actually walk them through. You can set up an ad like this and target it and run it in front of people and see they can search for this, and then your ads pop up. And that at the time was a big aha. The reason that after several years, even and after a lot of revenue from that ad, it ultimately started to not perform as well as some of the other ones is because the market got more sophisticated. More people understood a little bit of how YouTube ads
probably
work.
because this guy ran $200 million worth of YouTube ads and educated the whole market, man. Like, jeez.
Exactly. So, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But yeah. So basically, that ad hit all those different points. Now, another good example of another hook, and I'll just do this other one, and then I'll walk you through an educate section that I think is really valuable on our clients. But this other hook that works well is a curiosity hook. It gets people excited, and it gives them an aha moment. You can give people an aha moment. It's key, and I actually saw you had one on here, and that's what I want to replicate, which is the URL affinity targeting. People don't know you can do that. So the other hook, and this is the one that's actually working the best for us right now, is what if you could ethically hijack your competitors' traffic and send it directly into your own funnel? Well, that's exactly what I'm going to show you how to do with YouTube ads. It's something called a URL affinity audience that allows you to target people based on websites that they're going on. Imagine going in and installing your pixel on somebody else's site. Well, that's not what we're talking about here, but it has a similar effect.
Yeah.
So you can see like that
Yeah.
is going to get people to watch it and go, whoa. But then I can back it up and I can show them, no, there really is this thing and it's URL affinity. And then if people are skeptical, like, well, how is that possible? Well, Google Analytics is installed on 55% of all websites. People are agreeing to this in the terms and conditions. Like that's, Google Analytics, Google search, Gmail, it's tracking everything. That's the thing is like people don't realize how much like data and tracking Google has. And I'm not here to argue that like whether they should have all this.
No.
I'm just saying.
Bro, we're marketers. It's always so funny when people I found that they're like, I follow politics a lot or whatever, right? And the whole Cambridge Analytica thing came out or whatever, and people were like, did you know that they were literally collecting your data and following around? And I'm like, definitely not. Had no idea, right? I'm like, what do you mean? I've been doing that for the last decade. Like, what are you talking about, right? Like, yeah. So, but like, it's still, I don't want to go too much off a sidetrack, but like, it's still so mind blowing to me that like with, like I could go, like, I just want to make sure I'm understanding this. Like I could literally line up. I could be like, okay, these are my top 10 competitors, 20 competitors, right? Like, or, people like, maybe they're not even competitors. Maybe they're people that like, they have my ideal customer and I'm a great compliment to them, right? And I could line up their, top 10 or 20 websites and I could like put those into YouTube analytics and be like, I want to run ads to people that hit those pages.
Yeah, that's what you're doing is hit those pages or similar sites. Now, Google doesn't specifically tell you exactly when they had visited the site or exactly like what pages or how. So just to clarify, but it's a signal and you're training Google and you're saying, I want to reach people that have been to these sites or
Can you do that on
Facebook? Not to my knowledge. Can you do this? This is like a YouTube specific thing. Again, I'm not at the same.
No, I understand.
Side, so, but from my understanding, that's not something you can do over there. It's a YouTube feature because think about it, right? They have Google search. Where do people go when they're trying to look something up? They don't just go directly to the website. They go to Google search. Also, what's like one of the top browsers? Google Chrome. They're tracking everything on Google Chrome. They're also Google Analytics, 55% of all websites. By the way, it's about 11 to 12% with the Facebook pixel. So Facebook touched about 11 to 12%. Google Analytics has 55% of websites, right? And then they also have Gmail. And this is where it gets really interesting because Facebook, you probably know, like Facebook has some like household income targeting, but it's kind of like a fake household because it's more based around zip code. It even tells you like zip code. So you're targeting higher net worth zip codes. Google has household income targeting where it's targeting like income bands. And they're like, you could target top 10% household income earners. Now, it's not perfect. I'm not saying it's perfect, but their data is really good because if you're targeting that top 10, 20, 30%, what it's basing that data on is all the data that Google has. Guess what? And by the way, this is not something that I confer, like they're not like advertising that this is the case per se.
I understand.
But Gmail is free. There's a reason it's free, that they're spending billions of dollars. Where do all your receipts go? They go to Gmail. So they're tracking, they know what you're buying. They know, what potential income band you are. Now, I'm not going to say like, I don't know what emails, like and exactly what it looks like. And it's more anonymized data. I think that's the important thing to know. They don't have a file, per se on us as a person.
No, but I get it though. Right. And that concept, it's always so funny. I'm an opportunist, right? More than anything else. People are like, are you a pessimist or you're an optimist? I'm like, I'm a realist and I'm an opportunist. Right. And people are always like, oh, we don't want to be sharing our data here, or why would you, do this, or why would you sign up for this? I'm like, you don't understand. They don't need to put a chip in you, right? It's called this right here, right? I'm like, if you have a problem with it, it's like, too bad. I mean, this is just how the world works. And so, we look at these things, and I come from a much more conservative background. I have I grew up in a very conservative thing, and everyone's like, oh, big tech, big data, whatever. I'm like, listen, A, it's happening regardless. So you have two options. You can either sit there and go, this is a terrible, horrible thing, or B, you can use it to your advantage, right? And it's like, that's what we're doing, right? And it's, when you use it ethically, and when you, I mean, like, like we're talking about here, and serving people, it's like, it's a crazy tool. Like, it's mind boggling to me how much opportunity sits in the world today off of, I mean, it's free. Like, YouTube it's free, right? Like, you can just sign up for these things and use them and access all of this stuff, and how few people actually go and do it. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is you could build followings, whether it's YouTube or Instagram or whatever it happens to be, like, and then TikTok and like all these different platforms. You can build a following, and you just need a few minutes a day, and not even a day. Like, you could pre-film a bunch of content, and your future self will absolutely thank you for building that
Hugely.
up. Whatever you happen to do, like, we have people on our team that are on our team, and our team's fantastic. Like, we got a fantastic that have built up personal like followings, and that allows them, not only to have that personal brand, but also speak to what our clients are doing too. And so
Yeah.
that gives them a better opportunity to come and work with us, because we see that. And so it's like, there is not, even if you don't like, and obviously the people listening and watching this, we're all entrepreneurs, right? So we're thinking of ourselves, but even out there, like, there's such an opportunity for people to like just dive in and start building
Yeah.
something. And there's no downside. It's all upside.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the thing that I really love. Like, it's an amazing time. Same thing with like learning AI, experimenting with that. There's so many things you can do. And so embracing it, because it's where things are going anyways, is what's going to give you that competitive edge. And especially for, us as entrepreneurs, like inside of our businesses.
So with that, we have the funnel, you have the ads, right? Filming the ads with the hook, the golden nuggets of the education, right? The call to action. And then we have targeting, I assume, right? You have your software and things for that. So I want to get to what you offer now, because you have my attention with, this fractional ad buyer. So finish up kind of like the final steps of what you do after I've got my ad in place. And then let's get into that.
Yeah, so that's where, and I'll get into like what it's been historically, and what we continue to do, which is the training side. But then we have our fractional media buyer offer, which is really exciting. And we're honestly, I think we found a really better way to run ads for clients. And I'm going to get into that in a second. But just to kind of wrap up exactly what you said, the targeting is the next step. And that's what used to be a long manual process. Now we have, keywordsearch.com. People go in, they just, type details. They could get the audiences, they can get the targeting. And we've really streamlined that process. Then it's all about launching, optimizing, and scaling their ad campaigns, right? And that's where we're either training people on how to do that, or we're coming in and we're just doing it for them with that fractional media buyer. And then from there, there's also retargeting. We talk about, there's YouTube retargeting. There's a lot of really cool things you can do. There's also omnipresent retargeting. So while YouTube's my main platform that brings people in, right? That's what I talk about. There's just so much value. It has intent. You do want to retarget people cross-platform, because if you think about it, if all of your leads are like popcorn kernels, right? Think of them like popcorn kernels. What you want to do is put them in a microwave, turn it on, warm them up from every angle, every direction, until they pop and become new clients. And the way to do that is to retarget them everywhere. Yeah.
So I build my funnel, I film ads, and based on what you're saying here, if I'm understanding correctly, if you have essentially 10 ads, like a good starting point, if I'm like the first go around, it's like if I've got 5 hooks, I've got 2 bodies, I've got 1 call to action, I can start with a good amount, would be 10 different ads, right?
Yes.
And then I'm going to take those 10 different ads and I'm going to put them into targeting. How many different variations of targeting would you say?
So I would recommend doing 4 campaigns.
Okay.
And then inside of each of those campaigns, likely having around 5 audiences. I would cluster the audiences together based on like type. So you would want to do, 4 or 5 intent-based audiences based on search terms. Those search terms are broken out into the specific topics. Cool thing is, keyword search will categorize it for you. It'll give you all the search terms for high ticket sales. It'll give you all the search terms for, making money online or building a business, or, and so then you can put those together, and then you see, this is the important part though. You want to look under the hood, right? So when you launch your ads, you want to actually go in and optimize and see, this video is working, keep running it. This one doesn't, turn it off. This audience is working, great, keep running it. This one doesn't, turn it off. And you do want to do that iterative process as well. The algorithm will do some of that for you, but not all of it for you, right? And so you do want to like help the algorithm by doing that. And then it's exactly. So that's basically what I would recommend with those
Okay. So then I've got 4 different campaigns. I got 5 different audiences in those. So, essentially 20 or so different audiences across it with the 10 different ones. And then I get them launched. I optimize for them. And then the last step of that would be then retargeting, right? Which would be then on YouTube or cross-platform or things.
Exactly. And scaling up the winners, right? So
And
being
scaling the
able
winners.
to scale
Okay.
up the ads that are the winners, and
Yep.
and if there are definitive losing campaigns, turning those potentially
Turning
off.
those off.
So, let's say out of the 4 campaigns, a likely scenario, like I said, the bell curve is one of them is going to perform quite well. Great. It also doesn't mean you don't optimize too, because you can always look under the hood of that one as well and say, oh, we can make it even better.
Yep.
But one usually will perform really well. One will usually perform pretty poorly. Again, this is the bell curve; it can be different.
Yeah.
And then you turn that one off, and then you got a couple in the middle that just need some optimization. Okay, turn that video off, turn that audience off. Now let's see how it does, and then they might shift upwards or downwards, and then you go accordingly. So that's what you want to do, and then you iterate. Then you see, okay, what about this winner worked? How can I create other branches? Call it the tree scaling strategy. And this is really valuable because a lot of people, they scale up their campaigns like a balloon. This is one of the big mistakes that people make, is you get a campaign that works really well and you're just like, how much money can I shove into this one campaign? How big can we get it? But what happens when you blow up a balloon too fast, too quickly, too big? It potentially pops, right? And so what we want to do is we want to treat it like a tree, like a seedling, right? We want to take care of it. We want to water it. Yes, we want it to grow. We want to encourage it to grow. We want to scale it up and scale it up over time. We want it to be a sturdy foundation, a sturdy tree trunk that then we can create branches off of. So we want to scale that campaign, but over time, and make it strong and sturdy and last longer. Then we can create different branches off of it and do other iterations and other tests. So we can see, oh, do we want to, run, if that video is working, now let's test it with a similar audience, but different than what we had. Or let's test this audience that's working well with a new video that we think is going to work well. Those become tree branches that then create more campaigns and more campaigns. And so you don't have all your eggs in one basket with just one campaign you scale. You're now scaling up a collection of campaigns.
Okay, that was so helpful. And specifically, it's interesting how what you just said right there directly confirms your point before, which was like with a Facebook ad, it's very hard to scale these up, right? Whereas with a YouTube ad, you get a winner, and this is a long-term asset. This can run for 6, 12, 18 months, right? Mm-hmm. For the people that don't know, just briefly explain, we don't have to go super deep into this, but briefly explain what's the difference between an ad and a campaign for, the someone that doesn't understand that.
Yeah, great question. So the campaign is the kind of shell overall that you're setting as the budget of this. The campaign includes the videos that you're running, which are the ads, the audiences that you're targeting, which is the different targeting options that we talked about, those custom intent and different things that you're setting up. It also includes some other settings like demographics, household income, location. There's also some general settings as well. So there's some details all around that. And I'll also give everybody, I've got a gift at the end to our PDF that kind of walks through how to set some of this stuff up. But basically what you're doing is you've got that campaign, and that campaign has within it, now there's technically ad groups. I swear by this, I do not create different ad groups. I just have one ad group in one campaign, and then inside of that ad group, we have all the different things. Because everything is done more on the campaign level. So on Facebook, now they have both because they have CBO and they have ad, groups or ad set stuff. But at the same time, like it used to be more ad sets, that would confuse some people. We just go campaign, one ad group, one campaign, one ad group. And then inside of that ad group, we have all the different things.
Stuff. Okay.
And then if we want to test more things, we would just test another campaign as opposed to a different ad group. Because if it's all in the same campaign, it's not going to allocate the budget accordingly. There are some strategies to do that, but in general, for 95 out of 100 clients, like we're just going to recommend doing.
So when when you're saying optimize, look under the hood, optimize, you're saying, okay, look, this campaign is doing really well. Well, let's look under the hood and go, okay, within that campaign, what specific ads are working really well and what ones aren't, right? What specific, settings here within that specific campaign is essentially what you're referring to. Right?
Exactly. What ads are performing, what audiences are performing, what demographic targeting is performing, and then, cut what isn't, and then see after you start, cutting and trimming different areas, see if that's going to get the campaign to perform in the area that you're looking for it to perform.
Amazing. Okay, so now let's pretend you're someone like me who bro, I've got a company I've got to run. I'm married. I just had my first kid. I've got church. I'm busy, man. And I've got a team to run and I've got clients to serve. And this all sounds amazing, but I don't want to run it myself. Insert solution. What do we
Yeah.
got?
That's
Because
where
I'm
we have
fascinated.
our
Yeah.
exactly. So that's where we have our fractional media buyer offer. So we do have, and what we've done is we've trained thousands of businesses on how to do this. So that works for people as they're building up to train them individually as entrepreneurs. Or if you had somebody on your team, like you have a marketing director or media buyer that you want us to train, we would do that. But now what you kind of teed up really well is our fractional media buyer for people like you that say, hey, I'm really busy. I've got a lot going on. I don't necessarily have a team member to tap to like train to learn this.
Yeah.
What we can do is we can take one of our top media buyers and fractionally install them into your business to be that top media buyer to run your ads. So we're still taking through this process, and there still is stuff that we're doing, throughout, right, to have you film the ads and the different pieces. But when it comes to actually running the ads, we're going to run all of that for you, do all these tests, do all these iterations to get the best results. And the reason that this came to be is and honestly, for a long time I've been training a lot of businesses, and people have been banging down my door saying, hey Aleric, like, can you just run the ads for us? And sure, years ago I could have launched like an agency and probably made good money with that, but it wasn't about that. It's always been about how can I get the best results and really make sure that our clients are seeing the best success. And I became disillusioned with the traditional agency model. And this is not to speak negatively about anybody who runs this type of
Yep.
thing, but if you ask and have a conversation, people will admit that like there are challenges in the traditional model. The
Yeah.
traditional model, which is your business over here, the agency over here, you've got the account rep or account manager in between, and then you're talking to them, conveying your goals, what you're looking to have accomplished. They're going back and they're kind of going behind this curtain. There's like a curtain here. And behind the curtain are all these mystery media buyers. But you don't know how high caliber the media buyers are. It's kind of like a black box. You don't know what they're really doing. And oftentimes there's like account manager, like there's media buyers in training or junior media buyers that might actually be running your ads without even you even realizing it. And then they're conveying this back to the account manager who's talking to you as a business. And it just produces this area where it's a game of telephone and tends to produce either subpar or average results, or just good enough to keep that, client going.
Yeah.
That's not what I wanted to do. And the reason for this is because it is, because of the traditional model, it just presents these challenges.
Yeah.
What I decided to do is say, hey, what if we found a better way? What if we tossed this out and did something different where we just take one of our top media buyers, people with years and years of experience, and actually just plug them in fractionally for our clients, have them work with a select number of clients, let's say about 8 clients, but again it's going to vary depending on the size of the different clients.
Yeah.
Let's say about 8 clients, having that fractional media buyer working closely with them, and then the businesses, you have a fraction of their time, but they're also backed by our team. So they're meeting consistently with you or your marketing director or your ops person on a regular basis, and actually understanding what your goals are. You're conveying your goals. Here's what we're seeing. Here's what we're seeing on the calls, on the sales calls. Here's what we're seeing on the ads. Here's what the strategy should be. Here's what we're doing. Working together, working hand in hand with a fractional media buyer to get the best results. Now we're still
and they're actually the ones that are actually going through and running the ads, though.
Exactly. They're running the ads. They're diving in day to day, and you're on in a shared Slack channel with them. You have the ability to reach out to them consistently, but also you or somebody on your team would be having weekly or bi-weekly touch points and actual calls. Yeah. And they become a fractional member of that team.
Of the team, yeah.
And that I think is, but with the backing of our team and what we know about YouTube ads, and with our whole collection of knowledge and our copywriters, our kind of people who can audit funnels, we've got our strategists, we've got our team backing them too. So it's better than just going out and finding a solo person or hiring an agency. We wanted to create the perfect blend where you can still get that intimate feel of working directly with a high caliber media buyer, but still backed by a great team.
And that was what I was going to say. It kind of puts you in a unique position, anyone that's coming to you, because like very, 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 very few people in the world have as much data, experience, knowledge, literal actual data, right? And experience and knowledge as your team does, right? What does that run? Like how much, like ballpark me, like how much is someone paying for that?
Yeah. So, and it does depend. And, with that, again, it's going to be in the range again, because there's also a component with the ad side of things. So it's going to be in that usually in the 6 to 10 kind of range a month, like 6,000 to 10,000. But it also
Yep.
depends on how much they're spending on
Right.
ads.
Yep.
And if they want us to manage YouTube, we have some fractional media buyers that can also do both YouTube and Meta and Facebook
Yeah.
ads. And then we also have some clients that want us to do omnipresent retargeting, and some clients that also want to be involved in our masterminds and want to,
Yeah.
come. We've got office days here in Austin, and we also help train a lot of businesses on how to, scale. That's something that certain people like yourself might be less interested, but other people who are on the up, like, hey, I want to like uncrack the code to scaling, to that next level. They like that. So it just does depend.
Yeah,
What
no,
I'd
for
really
sure.
recommend though is having, kind of set aside that for something like the fractional media buyer, about $10,000 a month would be the recommendation between, us and potential ad spend at the lower end. And then obviously ramp up from that.
Yep. Okay. As we kind of start to wrap up things here in the next 10 15 minutes or so, there's two things that I kind of want to ask you about, still related to YouTube. This first one, which by the way, that was so incredibly helpful, so thank you, I appreciate it. And we'll get links from you, so people, if you guys want to schedule a call with Aleric or his team, right, like we'll put that down below, obviously the site as well for the software, the keyword search, right?
And I'll clarify too, just because I threw out some numbers. People don't have to be at that level to start diving into YouTube ads. That's the fractional media buyer. That's like our creme de la creme, right? We also have other programs designed for people, that are looking to really ramp up, like our video launchpad program, and our different abilities to actually train businesses on YouTube ads to ramp up, and working together with them to get that launched in courses and things like that. So I just want to make sure that people aren't just throwing out these bigger numbers, like, you go to the top, but there's also, different, we have things for every single step along the way. And so if you're interested, you're going to share, which I appreciate, those links down below, and you can reach out and we'll see what's a fit.
Yeah. And we will link those down below, so check those out. Shifting gears just slightly, still staying kind of on the topic of YouTube specifically. The question being, for lack of a better word, let's say, have we missed the boat? If we're new to YouTube, right? Let's say, and maybe more specifically, a better question would be, if I'm going to invest, like I got started into the Instagram space very young, right? I was, I don't know, probably 18, 19, right? So not quite 12, but at the time I didn't understand the concept of investing in an asset. I didn't understand the concept of something, that was worth investing in over time versus not, right? And I would say that if you were to rewind time, and if you could have these two parallel universes, what would have been a better investment, for the last 10 years, YouTube or Instagram? Clearly the answer would have been YouTube, right? Not that Instagram's a bad platform. People make plenty of money on that, have lots of success to grow their business. But long term, the asset that was created was not just an immediate opportunity, like it was more so with Instagram than it was, with YouTube, which had that kind of longer term effect, right? Maybe the same thing with real estate, right? There's the Airbnb stuff, maybe it's now, whereas maybe longer term investments, they pay off longer term, right? So my question is that for someone like me, or someone that is, thinking about, okay, like I'm going to be in business for a while, right? I'm not going anywhere. I've been around for, 7, 8, 9 years. I'm going to be around for a lot longer. If I'm going to put my time, particularly not just money, but also my time in investing in learning something and investing in a platform and getting to understand it, right? Is YouTube, is there still a long-term opportunity here for YouTube, or what's the word I'm looking for? Exponential, right? For an exponential growth long-term, or is this something where it's like, you know what, like there is still an opportunity here, yes, but also maybe there's, a better platform, maybe X now with where they're going, maybe that's a better investment of my time for a long-term type of thing. How should we think about YouTube as a long-term investment, and is it worthwhile as both not only a money investment but also a time investment to learn and pour into?
So that's a great question. There is a massive opportunity on YouTube, and it is true that in the past that it may have been less kind of barriers to entry, but if you have the right strategy, here's the benefit. Back then, there was less of a strategy, right? So now there's proven strategies to actually get this to work. Now with ads, YouTube ads perform incredibly well. That's what we're talking about, is the ability to go and target people with intent. They're looking up exactly what it is that you do, especially, coaching, high ticket course, consulting businesses. There's so much opportunity to reach people that are literally Googling or YouTube searching exactly what it is that you do, or watching videos on that and then reaching them at the perfect time. The URL affinity audiences, all
Yeah.
these things are big opportunities that are there for you. When it comes to growing an organic channel, which I think is part of what you're getting at too, yes, there, is a big opportunity there as well. What I would recommend though is use the tools at your disposal with where YouTube's at now. So one of the ways to grow is not just producing consistent long form content, it's also going into short form content as well. Now on YouTube, they did something that not a lot of people are talking about, but is really, really powerful. The ability to link long form content at the bottom of a YouTube short. And I'm not sure if you've seen this or not, but this is something
Interesting.
that's really powerful, because now with more people watching YouTube shorts and YouTube shorts getting a little bit more distribution, then you have the ability at the very bottom to link a related video to that short. So let's say you make a short on, a couple high ticket sales tips. You say, well, watch my full training down below, or my full video down below. And then they watch that. Now they're on an organic video where they're watching that, and then that can link them.
Interesting. And because like TikTok does not have long form, it's literally interesting. Okay. All right. That makes sense. All right.
Yeah. And
So,
so it can bring
right.
people
Yeah.
to that. Exactly. Bring people to that long form. It's essentially creating a funnel within your YouTube channel, from that short form content to the long form content to subscribing to potentially, you can also retarget YouTube viewers and subscribers with ads. So you're not just growing that channel to grow the channel overall. You can actually retarget anybody who's watched your videos,
Yeah.
liked your videos, subscribed to your channel with YouTube ads to get them to take whatever desired action you're looking for as well.
So in 10 years from now, like if someone were to come to me and ask Josh, like, if I wanted, if I'm looking 10 years into the future, is Instagram, right, a worthwhile platform to pursue? I honestly, I'd probably say no, right? Like, I think that Instagram, I mean, maybe they will continue to grow users or whatever, but I think the opportunity for the average person, right, has reached a point where there's better social media platforms, right, to potentially invest in, right? When it comes to YouTube specifically, though, what I'm hearing from you, correct me if I'm wrong, is if I'm looking 10 years into the future and I go, listen, in 10 years from now, if I put my head down and I'm going to wake up in 10 years and it's like, will this be a life-changing type of asset, the future that a 10-year future me will thank me for? The answer is an overwhelming yes. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Perfect. That answers my question. I appreciate it. Last question in here as we kind of wrap this up. I kind of want to turn it more a little bit to you personally. Dude, you're 26. Are you married? Do you have a girlfriend? Are you in a relationship at all?
Uh, no, not right now, but
Ladies, he's
it's
single.
something that I do want to do in the,
Yeah.
in the future. And
Yeah.
right now, I've really been focused on the business,
Yeah,
but
for
I
sure.
have started, thinking a little bit about that, and especially as I get closer to 30, it's definitely something that I want. I
Yeah.
want a wife and kids. I want a family. I want that.
Yeah.
So I think now it's like, all right, that is something that I want. So I think that, it's my focus has been the business.
Yeah.
But it's a good question, because it has been something that more recently has gotten on my mind a little bit. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna start inviting that a little bit more and seeing what's out there. But also at the same time, I have aspirations here, and I think it's a
Hey,
lot of
you're an entrepreneur, bro.
entrepreneurs always
Yeah.
wrestle with. It's like the
Yeah.
different sides. But I think that you absolutely can have a full, like, fulfilled life and have it all. So
Yeah, for
that's
sure. And I'm in agreement with that as well. I mean, I got married at 27. My wife and I just had our first kid 3 months ago. 3 months ago. So she's 3 months old.
congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah. So and I just turned 30, right? So I mean, you got time, right? I guess my question where I was going with that more so was, what does I think we as entrepreneurs, the business is our baby, more so than our baby, it's our life, right? It's like we wouldn't know what to do without entrepreneur. It's like if tomorrow you magically woke up and it all disappeared, you wouldn't be like, oh, guess I'm gonna go get a job now, right? It's like, all right, we just go do it again, right? But at the same time, I think that having a deeper vision calling right outside of just the business itself, like oftentimes the most successful and the most fulfilled entrepreneurs, like, have that, right? For you, what does, maybe the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years of your life look like? What are you trying to build not just with the business, but like what are the things that kind of that you value, that drive you, and that kind of shape you as a human and a man outside of entrepreneurship. Not that you're doing it outside of you're using entrepreneurship to achieve it, but like what are those things outside of that that you're trying to build, do, and that you value?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that it's also aligning exactly. And I completely agree with like looking at all of that too. And it's aligning everything together. And they'll start with the business, then I'll kind of go outward too.
Yeah.
So in terms of that overall, our mission is to empower businesses to amplify their impact and create a positive ripple effect on the world. I believe that when we go and help people with their marketing, with their YouTube ads, and yes, like I love diving into the numbers, the data, we talked about that,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
at the same time, it's more than numbers. We're helping connect people with businesses and solutions, and especially in the coaching and consulting and like space, people that could genuinely help them transform their business, transform their lives. But we're helping connect people with coaches, products, services, whatever it happens to
Yep.
be, that's going to help them, right, that they're looking for. And so we're helping bridge that gap. And so I think that that's something where it creates that positive ripple effect when we can go and connect that. We're not just helping that business, we're helping the client that they help, we're helping the employees of that business, and it just goes out positively. And so I think that that's something that really creates that really exciting clean energy and fuel. In terms of overall, like I've been trying to continue to build myself as a more well-rounded overall. So on the business side, I've also been working on fitness. I've been doing working out a few times a week. I've been going to church more here in Austin, and I've been like finding ways to grow as a person, doing more in personal development. Like I think that there's a lot of things that I think is really valuable that I've been building up,
Yeah.
and I think that it's important to be that overall person as well, in addition to the business and the ambition and that side of things.
Yeah. Are you religious at all?
Yeah. So I'm a Christian as well.
Yeah.
I go to Austin Stone out here in Austin, and it's something that I've gotten into more like now, and so I'm still kind of
Yeah.
relatively earlier on in that
Yeah.
journey and kind of the walk, but at the same time, like it's something that has really been valuable to me and has helped
Yeah.
like connect me to like a greater purpose, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And I am all about Jesus, right? If you ever want to just jam out about faith or Jesus or Christian, I mean, I will. I mean, literally talk for hours and hours. Do you know Nick Robbins?
Oh yeah.
Yes. So I mean, I had him on, and I think we did a 3.5 hour show, and we talked about God versus universe versus because he's like, yeah, I believe in the universe and all that stuff, and I'm a Jesus, I'm all in servant of the King, right? So and I respect that tremendously. So I mean, if you ever want to jam out about that, but I think that I grew up Christian. I grew up in the church. I grew up in a very conservative, type of thing. And I don't know if walk away is the right term, but certainly strayed, let's say, right, for a while. And I recommitted my life back to Christ about a year and 3 months ago, right? Like really, really, truly life changing, right? And I think that we as entrepreneurs are called, like, we have a certain set of skills and a certain set of gifts, right? And those can be incredibly dangerous gifts if they are not anchored in who we're called to be. And so it's real. I mean, it's really, it speaks to who you are as a person, as well. But to kind of anchor in those. So that's really, really awesome to hear. I'm glad to hear that.
Thank you.
Yeah, dude. Well, dude, thank you so much for your time. Aleric Heck, everybody. Oh my goodness. Hey, I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your story with the audience there. Well, we will link your site down below. We'll link the software down below. Where can people go to find more about you? I think you mentioned you had a free gift or something like that for people. Where can people go to get that?
Absolutely. So I've got a free PDF, walks through step by step how our YouTube ads process works, breaks it down. You can go to adoutreach.com/gift. That's ADOUTREACH.com/GIFT. Adoutreach.com/gift. Download the full 19-page YouTube ad strategy PDF. And also, you've got keyword search as well. So keywordsearch.com. And it's just exactly as it sounds, keywordsearch.com. You can go and sign up there to actually start building out those AI YouTube ad audiences. There's a 5-day full free trial you can get of any of the tiers there. And then also If you are looking to learn more about YouTube ads, if you're wanting to make that leap into it, you can book a strategy call with our team by going to adoutreach.com/apply. And of course, I'm on YouTube and all major social media channels, so feel free to follow me there as well.
Love it, man. Hey, I appreciate your time. A couple of just really fast rapid fire questions as we kind of end this, if that's cool with you.
Absolutely.
All right, cool. Do you watch sports at all?
So not a whole lot. I'm more like all in on the business side, but I did watch the Super Bowl. I did watch the Super Bowl. So
all right, all right. Favorite book of all time?
Favorite book of all time? It has it's got to be The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek, and it talks about how you play business as an infinite game. And it really case studies Apple and their rise and how they were really able to play the game instead of going to try and beat competition, to think about how can they build a business that's going to exist far beyond the people that are actually going and building it. And so it's a really good book. Highly recommend it.
That's awesome. All right. Bucket list item. What's one bucket list you have not done yet you want to do?
Oh, okay. Bucket list item. Well, I definitely I want to go to I want to go to Japan. I feel like that's a really great, I love Japanese food, like sushi, fish, different, Wagyu beef, things like that. So I definitely want to go there at some point. And it's just a really interesting place. And, so there and New Zealand, like I want to travel further away. I've done, around here in the States and the Caribbean and Mexico and Europe a few times, but I have not actually made it to like the other side of the world. I think going to some places over there is definitely on the bucket list.
That's awesome. All right. Last question for you. And I ask this to everyone that comes on the show. Kind of the last question of it is, fast forward to the end of your life and you're on your deathbed, right? And you get to leave a message to every single person that you've been called to serve. So this is not to the whole earth, right? But this is specifically to your ideal customer, right? You're not going to piss off anybody that disagrees with it, right? Or whatever. Like, this is to your people, the person that you've been called to serve. And the caveat here is they're not going to remember anything else that you said. However, whatever you tell them in this message, right? Like they're going to believe it at face value, 100% true, and live accordingly, right? So there's no justification needed. It's just like whatever you say, it's like as fact. What would that message be to those people?
Wow. Okay. That's a big question there. And this is kind of more on the fly, and I'm sure other people say this too. So I don't know if it's going to be perfect here, but
there's no such thing, bro. This is just your message.
Yeah, that's true. So I would encourage them to go out there and really like live their life in a way and go and actually be able to impact people and create and think about the positive ripple effect of what they can do. Everything that people go out and do has the ability to create a ripple, whether it's a negative ripple or a positive one. And I think the best way to live life and to approach life is to go out and try to make as many positive ripples as possible and create a positive ripple effect of impact. And that's what I'd really love to encourage people to do.
I love it. I think you're a great example of that. Aleric, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Everybody, we'll link everything down below, and we'll see you all next time. Take it easy, fam. Peace.